Welcome again, dear friends, to another edition of Fresh Bread. This is Reverend Phil Anderson, pastor of Oakland United Methodist Church and Kansas Avenue United Methodist Church here in Topeka, Kansas. I'm so glad to have you with us here on this Holy Week edition now of Fresh Bread. Here it is now. Today is Monday, Thursday, April 1st, 2021. We are getting closer now to the cross. This has been a momentous week for so many of us as we've taken time each day to think about the things of Christ and his journey to the cross for us. You know, we can easily minimize this whole thing and just get all caught up in the activities surrounding Easter and Holy Week and what are we going to do? We got to go to the grocery store and get a big dinner and have an Easter egg hunt and get our shoes shined and get our fancy clothes. And you know what? I don't think any of that matters worth a hill of beans. If we don't put Christ first, it's all meaningless. I'm not saying it's not good to have time with your family, to have certain celebrations and traditions. That's all great. But if we leave Christ out of it, we've missed the point. We might as well just forget it. You know, this week I was drawn to this idea that we need as Christians, individuals, to pull back at this time, to come apart from the world, to come apart from our normal routine, to slow down, to be quiet, and to meditate on the things of the Lord, to think about what he has done for us, to think about those last few days of Jesus Christ here on earth. I don't see how we can really prepare ourselves for the Easter celebration if we haven't gone through this valley, this dark time with Jesus. It's a remarkably difficult thing that Jesus Christ is about to do. The culmination of his life, the direction of human history is all about to be changed with one single event on Good Friday when Jesus Christ is crucified. Have you ever thought, here's Jesus Christ who spent most of his life as an itinerant preacher. I'm talking about age 30 to 33, about 3 years. Never really tried to make a name for himself here on earth. And yet everyone knew Jesus. Everybody knew Jesus. And so his date with destiny, the reason he came to earth in the first place, was about to culminate on the cross of Calvary. So now Maundy Thursday rolls around. We commemorate this day as the time when Jesus had his Last Supper with his disciples and went up to pray in the Garden of Gethsemane. Remember, the disciples were supposed to be praying with Jesus and they fell asleep. I think I can identify with that. Jesus told them, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Remember, it's just the way people are. I think Jesus understood that was the nature of humans. Didn't deter Jesus from going to the cross for each and every one of us, though. And so today we'll look at this section out of Steadfast Love. The inspirations from Henry J. Now, and it's a small booklet that, again, I was blessed to receive right around the first part of Lent. It says, Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart from this world and go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end, it says, quoting John 13:1. And then these words, knowing that your hour has come to pass from this world to your Father, and having loved me, you now love me to the end. You give me everything that you have and are. You pour out for me your very self. All the love that you carry for me in your heart now becomes manifest. You wash my feet, and then you give me your own body and blood as food and drink. Henry Nouwen writes, Jesus knew the end was near. His hour had come to return to the Father. However, the glories of heaven were far from his mind in the upper room. Jesus knew that the next day would bring unimaginable suffering, sorrow, and separation. But first, he performed two far-reaching acts of love. Jesus humbly washed the feet of his surprised disciples, giving them and us a touching example of selfless service. Then he instituted a simple but extraordinary meal that would become a central part of our worship life. These were only the prelude to his greatest act of love. On Calvary's cross, Jesus loved us to the bitter end, absorbing into himself all of our sin and guilt, so that we might live with him to our blessed end, when we will go to spend eternity with him. Then this prayer: Blessed Redeemer, you gave me everything that you have and are, so I may be yours now and forever. Amen. Think of how Jesus, knowing what awaited him, continued to love others, to serve others, to put his needs aside, to pour out himself for others. Jesus is our example. If we want to emulate someone, if we want to imitate someone, let it be Jesus, who showed us what love was really all about, even as he was preparing to go to the cross. Remember that night in the garden when Jesus was confronted by the guards and Peter drew his sword and cut off the ear of one of the soldiers. Jesus picked up the severed ear and put it back on the man's head. Jesus' love never stopped, did it? Well, he loves us with that same kind of love. Pray that today, as we think about this Last Supper of Jesus and his disciples, that we would draw close to him, knowing how close he wants to be to us. Well, friends, thank you so much for joining me today on Fresh Bread. I wish you a great day. We will, God willing, be back tomorrow on April 2nd, 2021 for our Good Friday edition of Fresh Bread. Until then, may God richly bless you, is my prayer. Have a great day.